For millions of Americans who describe themselves as pro-life, today's decision is something to celebrate. And I'm joined now by Mike Johnson, Vice Chair of the Republican Party Conference. Thank you very much for speaking to us, Mr. Johnson. What do you make of the Supreme Court decision?
Well, prior to my election to Congress, I worked for nearly 2 decades in the courts, litigating pro-life cases because we believe very strongly that there is no right to abortion in the United States Constitution, period. It never was there in the text or the structure or the meaning of that document. And we are a nation that is led and relies upon the Constitution as our foundation. And so finally today, majority of the court has corrected this egregious wrong from 49 years ago, and the importance of today cannot be overstated.
Yeah, you heard Gloria Allred there giving a very graphic description of an abortion that she had when abortions were not legal. And she has said women will suffer, women may die as a result of this. Is that a price worth paying?
No, that's alarmist rhetoric, and the Democrats here in the United States Congress and the abortion lobby have long since used those talking points. But I would match what she said, contrast what she said with the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists. And they said, quote, that elective abortion carries no maternal benefit and ends the life of a preborn human being. And in fact, they said, effects of abortion procedures are harmful to women throughout their lifespan and are a catalyst for a myriad of fertility and health issues for women across demographics and social strata. So we know that abortion can lead to all sorts of mental health outcomes and things like depression, anxiety, and substance abuse and overdose and even suicide. And so it's a tragedy. What we need to do now is protect the humanity, the sanctity of every single human life. And that's what's maybe unique about America, is we acknowledge in our founding document, the Declaration, that all of us are created by God and we all have the same inalienable rights. And it begins with the right to life.
Some may say, actually, what about the woman who really is very sure that she doesn't want to have children? Or the woman who says, I can't afford to have this child. What about her mental health?
Well, what about that question, though? I mean, isn't that a really important one? You say that you can't afford to have a child. Well, put the child up for adoption. Don't kill the child. I mean, this is about the humanity of the unborn. We know that the pro-life movement is committed to serving women in crisis pregnancies. We have 2,700 pregnancy care centers in this country nationwide, serving millions of people annually. And babies in the womb deserve legal protection, and they possess basic human rights. That's what this opinion allows for today, and it will be made as a decision by the elected representatives of the people in each state.
Can you explain to an audience here in Europe that what the thinking is behind your passion for the unborn child, and yet the Republican Party has resisted any calls to limit guns and gun violence that has taken the life of children in schools, for example? Some people feel that there is a dissonance between those two things.
Not at all. Not at all. I just left the House floor less than an hour ago. I spoke right after Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the Democrat leader, and she suggested that gun violence was the number one killer of children. And I said, no, ma'am, that's actually, of course, not true. The number one killer of children in America is abortion violence, not gun violence. We recognize the humanity of the child. You have to realize that the science and the medical technology have caught up.
But even if you think it's the number one, if you think it's the number one killer, would you not want to do something about the number two killer as well?
No, of course. Look, we want to do meaningful reform that will help, but restricting the constitutional right to keep and bear arms is not the right approach. There is no right to abortion in the U.S. Constitution, but there very clearly is the Second Amendment. That is a sacred right as well. It's rooted in the right to self-defense, the right to defend yourself and your family, your loved ones,
Yeah, we seem to have lost
that right, and not to conflate the two issues.
We lost you for a moment, but I'm glad we've got you back. Just finally, it seems to be that America is now the land of the wedge issue, and this is yet another one. Do you have any hope that the people of the United States can be united, one people under a flag? Unfortunate. We do have you.
Yeah, I lost you there. We're going in and out, but I got the gist of your question. And yes, we are a divided country right now, politically and philosophically. But I do believe that the people are maybe awakening to some of these essential.
I think we also get the gist of your answer. Thank you very much for persevering with that line. Congressman Mike Johnson there, and apologies for the in and out of that line.